why should we even have a second language program in our schools when there are so many other things to juggle and other requirements?
To offer a second language is not an extra subject. I really think that is necessary investment for the student for the long-term success. If you know more than English, even here, because you say, well, I don't need it. Yes, you will need it. And if you have it, there's a lot of great opportunities that you can have.
Welcome to the BJU Press Teacher Edition podcast, where Christian educators are encouraged and inspired as we bring you interviews, practical ideas, strategies, and answer your questions about teaching in today's culture. And here's your host, Jenny Copeland.
Welcome back to the Teacher Edition podcast. Okay, I have a question for you. Think back to when you took foreign language yourself as a student in high school. What is the first memory that pops into your head? Just grab the first one. Don't dig too deep. Just think. Okay, I almost feel like I see some of you starting to laugh or maybe shake your head or roll your eyes. I have to admit, mine comes from Spanish class. So I took 1 year of Spanish, 2 years of German, and then I took 4 semesters of Greek in college. I loved Greek. It really stuck. I really enjoyed it. Even German, like it just made sense. I loved the class. Of course, we had German names and we had our own little German persona or whatever. But Spanish, I don't know. It was Spanish where I have the memories, if you want to call them memories. For some reason, Spanish and we just really struggled, which is really crazy because that would likely have been one of the most helpful languages for me to have kind of in my back pocket. Okay, so sure, I can remember a few of the things I learned in Spanish class, but more than the language, I just remember the experience. One particular experience was our mid-year exam. So maybe I shouldn't tell this, but here it goes. So we had to stand in front of the class and sing a verse of a Christmas carol in Spanish, a cappella. And the worst thing, we had to do it without laughing. Well, if you know me at all, smiling and laughing are they're my default in intense situations. And we were told that if we laughed or we laughed at someone else, we would lose a letter grade every time we laughed. Well, I was determined to not sacrifice my GPA due to laughing. But even to this day, I can feel the pain I experienced not only in standing up and singing Silent Night, I remember the song, in Spanish all by myself, but in trying to make it through 15 other solos with their rough pronunciation, their warbling voices, and of course, high school nerves and all that. Literally, I was holding my face to try to keep myself from smiling, and the tears were just rolling down my face. So that is just one of my very fine memories of foreign language class. I sincerely hope that your foreign language class memories are far better and much deeper than that. In fact, I hope your experience was impacting and really left you with the skills you can still pull from today because honestly, it is a requirement, right? There is so much learned in a foreign language class that isn't language. And I think that's part of the reasons it is one of the requirements. The experience is invaluable. And really, not to mention the ministry opportunities and the experiences that come when we're just able to converse with others in another language. So I'm excited to talk about this topic today, and I'm excited for you to meet our guest today as well. But just before I introduce her, let me again encourage you to visit our website, teachereditionpodcast.com. That site is easy to navigate, and you can easily access a huge library of episodes that we have created over the past 3 years. Also, just a reminder to like, follow, and rate us on whatever platform you listen to this podcast on. You can do that. Your feedback is so helpful to us and others in finding the show. And by the way, following or subscribing the show is going to help put those episodes right there in front of you. So let me remind you to, again, take a minute to subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss one single episode with our fantastic guests. I also want to encourage you to leave us a review. I know it takes a minute of your time, but if you're enjoying the show, tell us why. That helps us know what you're enjoying, and it helps us to get others to the show as well. Don't forget to follow us on social media. We're Teacher Edition Podcast on Facebook. And by the way, if you're listening to this podcast, you can also jump over to YouTube and catch the video of this interview as well. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Teacher Edition Pod. Once again, that is Teacher Edition Pod. Okay, let's get today's episode rolling. Let me introduce you to our guests. So we are so privileged to have Roxana Keiser with us today. Now, Roxana was born in the beautiful city of Puebla, I think I said that right, Mexico. But she grew up south of Mexico City. She came to know the Lord at the age of 14 and dedicated her life to serve him full-time at the age of 19. She studied Bible college in Sonora and then went on to earn 2 master's degrees, one in administrative education, another in church music. She then returned to Mexico and she taught music and women's ministry classes at a Bible college there for 5 years. At the end of those 5 years, she actually moved back to Greenville, South Carolina with her family, where she studied music education. And believe it or not, she worked as a project manager here at BJU Press. Her missionary journey started in 2010 when she married David and they moved to Puerto Rico. They served 7 years there teaching at Puerto Rico Baptist College. The Lord then moved them to North Carolina. They're kind of in that Charlotte area where her husband has been planting a Spanish-speaking church now for 9 years. Roxana has the privilege of teaching, and she's been teaching for 15 years. So you can see she's got a lot of experience there. And that experience is teaching elementary all the way through college. She's currently teaching Spanish at Matthews Christian Academy, and she also teaches K4 and K5 music. Roxana, it is so great to connect with you, and I'm really excited to talk today about the topic of foreign language in Christian schools. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. I really appreciate this opportunity that you are giving me. It's a blessing, and I hope that can be a great help for many people.
I'm confident it will. Okay, so in preparation for this show, I was looking up state requirements for foreign language in high schools. So I was shocked to find it isn't a requirement in every state. I guess I've always lived in a state where it was a requirement, I guess. But I found that there are 12 to 13 who have a strict mandate, and several kind of have flexible curriculums and what you could do. A couple states are adding the requirement, so they're rolling that out. And I also found that a few states, is kind of interesting, have the requirement, but they allow computer programming to count towards the requirement instead. Kind of interesting substitution there. Not really sure the direct correlation, but anyway. As I was reading about this, the comment was made, this is kind of interesting too, that while state graduation requirements are low, most colleges require at least 2 years of a foreign language. So it's kind of also an interesting expectation gap there. So I started all that research because I was actually going to ask you first, why should we even have a second language program in our schools when there are so many other things to juggle and other requirements? But then I kind of thought, well, that might be a ridiculous question because it was required. But I found it actually isn't. So let's go back and start with that question. What are your thoughts? Why should there be a second language program in schools, in Christian schools particular?
I really think it's very essential right now. We are living in a world that is very interconnected. A lot of the students are going to be communicated with different people through Facebook, through different, social media. And even here, if you see, there's a lot of international people around us. I can tell you that I'm going to say something that sometimes you probably hear that. What do you call someone who speaks 3 languages? And we can say trilingual. What do you call someone that speaks 2 languages? And you can say bilingual. But what do you call someone that speaks 1 language? And you can say American. And
I was gonna say unilingual. Is that a word? Yeah,
it
American's probably
is,
good.
but yeah, here and well, in a lot of countries, they speak more than 1 language. If you go to Europe, you could go to Switzerland, they speak German, French, Roman. If you go to Belgium, Dutch, French, German. You go to Spain, they have the Catalan Basque, Galician, Valenciano. If you go to Africa, they have a lot, like 11 kind of official languages that include Zulu, uh, um, Afrikaans, English, Nigeria, English, and more. You go to Mexico, we have 68 languages that they speak besides the Spanish. So, like Maya, Zapoteca. So, everywhere they speak more than one. Now, here we are doing the same thing. You are listening. If you go to California, because there's a lot of immigration, there's a lot of people that they are here that they speak more than English. So I really think that the first one is because it's going to help the students to communicate better with more people, that they have a different culture, that different idea, that act different, they eat different, and they can be better prepared for future. So I will say that probably that will be the first one. Learning another languages will help you to your cognitive improvement, like for memory. Learning another language also strains cognitive development. So the research shows that when we have another language, improves our brain function, like our memory, attention, and help us with problem solving. So, if your students know that they're going to be better reading and writing and in math, because the grammar will help them with that, the vocabulary and logical thinking. So, in one day, your student want to be a pastor, also, you're going to help them with a Greek, because Spanish is very similar to a Greek, and that will help them to understand better. And if they want to learn another language, like the Romances languages, they can learn Italian, Portuguese, French, or Latin very easily, because they're very similar. Also, they will enhance critical thinking. I just have here in the school, um, people came to observe us. And something that our director told us, please make sure that you do something for your students that they can really have a critical thinking. And I was looking what I was going to teach that day, and I didn't have any problem to do that, because they need to think in English first right now, because they're just learning
Yeah.
before they do what they are going to say in
Yeah, for
Spanish.
sure. Yeah.
So they really help them with this critical thinking. And they need to analyze patterns, they need to compare structures, they need to adapt, everything to what they're seeing. So something else that promotes cultural awarenesses of something else, another culture, and for inclusion. So when they learn another language, they are learning to respect, to have empathy and inclusion for someone else. So here in our schools, we have 80% of the student body has parents that are foreign for foreign countries. So my kids, I love that they are learning that they're not the only ones, in the world, that they need to learn how someone else are speaking in their class or outside the classes, and that is something else beside, American. So God has made any body, and it's a blessing that they can have that integration. So even my son is learning right now for his own Portuguese,
Wow,
because
good for
his
him.
friends, yeah, his friends speak Portuguese, and he wants to communicate, I guess, better with them. But he asked me, Mandy, can we do, Duolingo? And I say, why? I say, because I want to learn Portuguese. So it's a blessing to have that opportunity, even here, that they can see that there is more than just English. At
Yeah,
home, we speak Spanish, we speak, English, but I love that they can speak more than that, that they would like to learn something else, because the Lord will use them, use that one day.
sure. Yeah.
um, so something else that I can think is like they're going to prepare them better for a higher education, and they're going to have maybe uh, different. They're going to go to a different universities, or apply to different places that they're probably going to require that, and to have them and to have a little knowledge, they will do better, or they can go in because they have that.
Right, right.
So yeah, I think it's wonderful for the students. Also, learning another language gives students more job opportunities in the future because
Sure.
many jobs prefer and require people who speak more than one language. I can give you an example. This, in, I think December, I had a student that she said, "Can you pray for me?" And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Well, I'm applying for a job." And then she told me everything about the job. And one of the things that they asked her was if she speak more than, another language, more than English. And she was able to say, yes, I speak Portuguese because her parents are from Brazil. And also she say, I speaking Spanish because she's learning with us. She's in Spanish one, but she say it and she's
That's
doing great.
impressive. Yeah.
It's very easy for her to learn Spanish, very similar to Portuguese. So she get the job. She is using it because there's a lot of clients that are Hispanics or Brazilians. So yes, if you know more than English, even here, because you say, "Well, I don't need it." Yes, you will need it, and if you have it, you will get a better pay because there's a lot of great opportunities that you can have. So to offer a second language is not an extra subject. I really think that is necessary investment for the student for the long-term success. And I think that the schools need to invest in that.
Yeah, I think you've convinced us. Those are pretty compelling reasons to do that for the student. But what about for the school? Like, what are there benefits on the school level for offering foreign language? What would you say? I think we definitely get it for the student. What about for the school?
I think I'm going to tell you an example of myself. When I was in Mexico and my parents, we moved from Puebla to Cuernavaca. And the first thing that they was doing, because they had it in Cuernavaca, in Mexico, no, in Puebla, I was in a bilingual school. They were looking for the best. And for them, the best was not just someone that, a school that they speak Spanish. They want that I can be able to learn another language. So when we moved to Cuernavaca, they were looking again for a bilingual or trilingual school. So they found one that they was trilingual. We couldn't go there because it was a little bit farther, but we went to another that was good, has a good reputation, but has English. So I took English since my elementary. So if you have that in your school, it's going to enhance the school their academic profile. They're going to demonstrate the commitment to a higher education and standards, and also the students, are going to have a better development. So this is going to attract many families and they're going to improve the enrollment just because they know that they're teaching, something else. Here, in this school, they was having just 10 and 11th grade for high school. But the administrator told me, "Hey, would you like to help us, with the classes?" And I say, "Yes." Say, "You can do whatever you want, And I say, "Okay, can I, do Spanish?" And I start to teach Spanish. So I'm teaching from elementary to,
Oh, that's
11th
wonderful.
grade.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I heard many parents that say, "Well, it's wonderful that now they have a Spanish." And they're asking me, some of the parents, or saying, "Do you still teaching them?" And it's a blessing for them. They really like, and they are very happy that they're not just learning English, but, in the high school level, but also in the elementary level. And as a teacher, I will tell you that it's easier for the elementary kids
I
to
was just
learn.
thinking of that. That's the time to do it.
Yes, this is the best time for them. I just have a concert, the Christmas concert, and I taught a song in Spanish. They have a wonderful pronunciation. because for them it's very easy to imitate me. So, yes, I think that they're going to improve your enrollment. They're going to really help you to know that you are for the students too, for the benefit of them.
Yeah.
So, and as a Christian school, adding another language offer academic benefits and state-based benefit that align stronger, with Christian values and mission.
Yeah, I agree completely. When I was an elementary school principal, we offered introductory Spanish at the elementary level. And I remember prospective families really commenting on that at the uniqueness, at the elementary level and the appreciation for the exposure to a foreign language and just how that really was setting the students up well for the next phase where there were choices in language, but there were also expectations. So beyond being attractive to new families and enrollment, I wanted to kind of swing back around on something you mentioned, that adding a language offers academic benefits and faith-based benefits. And you kind of hinted at, touched at it, that align with our Christian values, our mission. And you've kind of talked about how this can help with service and ministry and opportunities. Talk more about that. Where do you see the benefits as it aligns with a Christian school's mission? We need to look at everything we do and see, is this really on mission for us? Where does that fit in?
Yeah, before Jesus, left to heaven, he gives the command of go to all the nations and disciple them, and teach them. And uh, you cannot do it if you are just thinking that English is the only language that you
Yeah, it's
have.
a little limiting.
It is. So I'll give them, the opportunity to learn another language, to know some verses, doesn't need to, to have a lot of things, but at least a little bit, you're opening to them to the missions, to uh, go with service, evangelism, and sharing God's message. So language learning directly support the Great Commission by enabling students to communicate across the cultures and nations. So they can go to mission trips. They can go even Saturdays, Sundays with your church, to their neighborhoods, to here, even in the States, what I'm saying is like there's a big opportunity. My
Sure.
husband is Hispanic pastor here in the States. I never thought that the States will be a mission field. When we were thinking about missionary work, we were thinking about Mexico, Africa, South America, and other places. We never thought that we will come back here for do a mission work, but there's a lot of people coming to our churches that I
Right.
wasn't able to teach them the gospel in Mexico because they are not there, they're here. And I know that a lot of them they never heard the gospel in Mexico because they're think that they don't need it. But here they're coming to churches, they're coming, to everybody that they're very friendly. So if you have that, you help to the students to have empathy, for another people to uh, even for the commission. The Lord told us that we need to love our neighbor as we love ourselves.
Right.
And
Right.
this is one of the ways that you can love them, give them the gospel. I can think also like Jesus, when everyone was, ready to go to another place, he always say that was necessary for him to pass through Samaria. Why? Because was someone there that needed to know the gospel, the Samaritan, and she
Right.
knew the Lord. So yes, if we want to love, have compassion and unity, uh, you need to be able to speak
Yeah, for
with,
sure.
with someone else that not just in English. Like me, you're speaking right now with me, but my first language was Spanish. But I
You're doing
able to
great. You're doing great.
well, I right now able to communicate with you because I learned something else.
Yeah, it's like the
So
reverse. Yeah.
yeah. So these were really a Christian center,
Mhm.
approach to education that values dignity, respect, and unity. So, and also are going to prepare the students for any ministry, and
Sure.
service because the Lord is giving them some gifts, and those gifts, like, uh, can be reflected or can be a great tools, for them with this language. Like, how I'm going to say, like many Christian ministries, missions, and humanitarian organizations work internationally and with multicultural communities. So language skills, but they're going to prepare students for future services in churches, in ministry, in
Right.
education, in healthcare, in community, Uh, to learn Spanish or another language is wonderful for healthcare. They're asking for people that they can speak something else, besides
Absolutely.
English. It's going
Yeah.
to be wonderful for education. I told you there's a lot of, people that they don't speak English when they arrive here. And they are asking, how many times they ask me, can you come and help us to translate to these parents or that?
Yeah.
Because it's a service that that you can do for someone else. So it's going to really help the students to uh, be better prepared for what the Lord has for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, they're going to strengthen their character development. Uh,
That is true.
to learn another language is not easy. They require
I agree.
discipline. They require patience, commitment, and humility too.
Discipline. Yeah, we'll go with the humility too. Yeah. Back to that
And
first story.
I will say that because I remember when I was trying, I was very embarrassing to try to speak because I knew that I couldn't say the things right, and people many times laugh, of what I was saying. But if I really want to learn it, I remember when I was in the school, I say I need to eat it. I need to eat my pride, and I need to just go and do it. And they laugh, and I say, okay, well, tell me how I need to say it. And they say it, and I repeat, and then they laugh again. Okay, tell me again until
Good for you.
I
Yep.
did.
You were
So
determined.
yeah, this is why help with the character. So it's a blessing. It's going to be a blessing for the students, for them to learn another language because they need to have a lot of effort and a lot of practice. And I can see my students, right now they're recording themselves in some of the classes, and they say,
Wow.
"Do we really just record ourselves?" Say yes, because I want that you can listen to yourself. And we sometimes when we listen to ourselves, we see like, "Oh man, I sounds awful," but
Yeah.
that
Try
helped me
singing.
to improve. So, and also it's going to, to build bridges in cultural communities.
Hmm. Yeah.
Uh, the Lord asked us for be hospitality, to give hospitality or be hospitality. So language programs are going to enable students to connect with families and neighbors from different backgrounds. And they're going to, how going to say, hey, come here, you're more than welcome in this place. So I remember, one phrase that Nelson Mandela said a long time ago. He said, if you talk to a man in a language that he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his own language, that go to his heart.
Yeah.
And so communicating in someone's native tongue or cultural language creates deeper and more meaningful connections than speaking in a shared but foreign language.
Yeah, very true.
When I wanted to marry, or I was very young and I say, I will never will marry American or someone that doesn't speak Spanish. Why? Not because I was thinking that American was bad, just because I was thinking I want to share all my deep thoughts and I don't
Right.
going to be able to do it in
Right.
another language.
Exactly.
But the Lord gave me David, and he born in Spain. And he's American, but so he is
See, the
able
Lord
to
worked it out.
yes. So yeah, it's going to help to have that bridge and to really go to the heart of someone else that is in front of you, your neighbor, in the store, in your community. So
Those are great. That's
yeah.
excellent. Very good. Those are excellent reasons and so practical. And we have to think about that because sometimes we do just get caught up in, doing the requirements or whatever. But when you think through those things and the benefits to the students and the school, that's amazing. Okay, maybe to switch gears just a little bit, let me throw in a more, I guess you could say, logistical question. How do you choose which language? So I know most schools do Spanish and then there's French and German. I know Chinese is also popular. I've actually been in a few schools where they teach Greek at the high school level.
Hmm.
Some schools even offer sign language. So I've seen that kind of being their second language.
Hmm.
In your experience, what are your thoughts on this? If a school's weighing out options for a language, where do you think they should start? What are some good things to consider?
I think that depending where you are, where is your school, where your location, but for jobs and money, really English is the best one that you can
Yeah.
have because it has a global jobs and
Mhm.
internet education, everything. But Spanish is very useful in many countries. Great for healthcare, for business, for travel. German is strong for engineering, science, and Europe-based jobs. Mandarin Chinese is powerful for international business and trade. If you want to travel, there is a lot of, you know, if you go to America, there is a lot of countries that really speak Spanish. It's very easy to learn. So Spanish will be the one priority probably for your school. French is very useful in Europe, Africa, in Canada.
Hmm.
The Arabic is spoken, across many regions.
Wow, yeah.
So uh, if you want an easy one, because sometimes the students really don't want, they please don't give me something like, so it's
Don't
so
make me write in
hard.
Chinese.
Yeah, so really Spanish will be the clear pronunciation and
Hmm.
has a lot of resources you can find everywhere. Italian is very has a simple grammar and pronunciation. So I go with probably Spanish,
Mhm.
French, like that in your high school
That's great. That's super
school. Yeah.
practical. It's interesting to think about it that way. Like, do you wanna travel? Are you trying to get them for ready for
Yes.
business? And I like, obviously healthcare, a lot of, interpreting options there. So that was
Yeah.
great. That was very practical. Okay, as we close out and wrap up this discussion, one last question for you. What would you say to a school who doesn't have a state requirement, but they're examining, the elective ideas or maybe an expectation just within their own school, or maybe to the school who has a program but really needs to just kind of re-examine or refresh their program? What would your advice to be to them as we close out this time together?
I really encourage, for the ones that they don't have the requirements to consider to give this to the students because there's a lot of benefits more
Yeah.
than what can imagine. So I really consider if they can implement in their school will be great for their students because you don't know who is in front of you and where the Lord is going to send
So
him.
true. Yeah.
I will never thought to go out from Mexico, and I'm here, and I've been, in Puerto Rico, and I was willing to go to Europe with my husband. So I start, when I was in Belgians, I was taking French because I say, well, he was living very close to French, so I needed. This is what I taught. So I hope that you can consider to implement it. Now, if your school has it, I consider you to, if you can revise and see what do you have. If you have outdated, books, is very boring, or going with the culture, how the kids are learning, what you can have, how you can improve, what material will be better, if there is, like something else that you can give to the Spanish teacher so they can have more resources. I love here my administrator, it's wonderful. I just tell him what I need and he's giving to me. So I
That's
have a
great.
different curriculums, I have a different things, and I can do whatever I can for the benefit of the students because they're giving me the support of having the resources that I need. So I just, you know, encourage you and saying that it's going to be a very great benefit for your school to have it or to really improve it.
Yeah. I really like that you approach that both ways. If it's not an expectation, make it an expectation for the benefit of
Yeah.
your students and your school. And if it is something you have, I really like that you point out sometimes we need to refresh it. Sometimes our
Hmm.
students just aren't into learning things because we're not giving them the best we can. Sometimes some of our programs get a little stale or a little outdated. So that was great. That was super practical to just help them love it. Get in there, refresh it, look at your program and see where you need to turn it up a notch. I've been in some schools where they just really focus on ministry and what they're learning. Even as they know a few words, they're out there practicing with them or,
Yeah.
attending a Spanish church, just to listen and try to focus on it from the ministry side, not just as another academic expectation. So that's great. Roxana, thank you so much for taking time to share with us today. It was just a special treat to have you here on the show. And I appreciate the perspective, just the heart you bring to the table as you're already a second language teacher. You understand and you brought so much to the table. I appreciate your great insights. It's very practical. And I feel like you really challenged us with where our mission intersects even with foreign language classes. And sometimes we overlook that. So thank you once again for giving of your time to be with us today.
You're welcome.
So listeners, Roxana's given us much to think about today. So after today's episode, I want you to complete this sentence, like thinking back about what we just talked about. High school foreign language classes are important because... What would you say? Foreign language isn't just a requirement, it's part of our mission in more ways than one. I hope that's a challenge that's gone out to you today. So as we sign off for today, of course, my reminder to go to teachereditionpodcast.com to learn more about the show and to submit questions for our upcoming episodes. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and follow us on social media. Now, it's time to get back to your day, but it's not just any day. Every day in the classroom is your day to impact and inspire through God's power and through His grace working in you. Go do what God has called you to do.